Morning, everybody. Now, as a general rule of thumb, when you think of a church, you think of an organization that gives back to the community, one that exercises kindness and compassion and empathy in their actions, a caring place full of people who genuinely want to better the world and help you in any way that they can through the eyes of spirituality. These are not, however, the words that I would associate with the so called Church of Scientology. What does the community get from Scientology? Well, in fact, it gets legal threats, cease and desist letters, and today, a final warning. We're going to be talking about the latest escalation in Scientology's attempts to shut down protesters outside their annual IAS event, which is happening this weekend at their UK headquarters in East Grinstead. But first, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. Petrie Na is in the house. Good evening, everyone. Not long now till the big day. Absolutely. We are now just 2 days away. We've got tomorrow, and the following day is the protest. I'm very excited. Becky Lunn in the house, Becky Big Brother fan. Hello, good evening all. Thank you so much for joining. We have Golden Astro Cat, evening all with a penguin blue waving tear. Love it. We also have Transfer Madness. Wahoo! Thank you for joining. Sweet Liberty is here. Christy here, loving the addition of the whoo-hoo. I'm still laughing at that. I think it's such a perfect way of summing up the Church of Scientology is in its members' own words, as Mr. Cummins says. Woo-hoo. That's exactly how everything's gone over the last couple of days, for sure. Retro Cara also is in the house. Oh no, a final warning. Yes, and my message to the Church of Scientology is simple. It's that we will not be intimidated by your scare tactics, by your bully tactics. I think I've made it pretty clear by now that I'm the sort of person who stands up to bullies. I will not be intimidated by your cease and desist letter, and I will not back down simply because you've sent me an email that says it's a final warning. Protesters gathering outside the IAS event for the last 2 years have engaged in absolutely zero antisocial behavior, harassment, hate speech, any of the things that Scientology claim we have been doing. This is corroborated by police reports from the officers that were attending in both years, as well as a very detailed investigation that was launched by Mid Sussex District Council last year in relation to Scientology's failed bid to ban protesting through a public spaces protection order. It's very clear that our protests are well organised, they are peaceful, they are lawful, and we are activists with kindness, empathy and compassion at the forefront of everything that we are doing. But these are not the things that Scientology like to preach to the world. Today, I got a response to my response to their cease and desist letter. For those of you who maybe haven't caught the live stream from yesterday, we've been organising this protest for several weeks now. It's now happening in 2 days' time. And just the other day, Scientology sent me a cease and desist letter telling me to cease and desist making videos on YouTube to stop protesting and all of this other stuff. I responded in kind and told them that if you'd like protests to stop outside your property, perhaps you should consider ceasing and desisting the abuse of your current and former members. I read the reply that I sent to them on a live stream yesterday, and I received a response yesterday. This is what I got back from the Church of Scientology. Of course, I've redacted the name because we don't want any privacy strikes going on here. But this is the email. It was sent at 9:37 p.m. Let's not forget normal working hours are 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. This is obviously sent by a C organisation member. Dear Mr. Barnes-Ross, as stated in my original letter, you are placed on formal notice to desist from any and all actions by you personally or by any associated individuals who come to or near the entry of our church. Firstly, I'm going to stop you there, Mr. Blank, because I don't represent anybody. I'm not a spokesperson for any sort of other person, and if you want to issue legal proceedings against people, you're going to have to issue them against them. I am the person who's organised this protest, yes, as one of a committee of organisers, but that doesn't mean I have a legal responsibility for individuals' behaviour. I have a responsibility to ensure we conduct ourselves in a peaceful and lawful manner, and we do that through issuing a code of conduct, by issuing advice and guidance on how we wish the protest to be conducted. But ultimately, individuals are responsible for their own actions. So it's kind of pointless, if you ask me, to send me an email saying I will be held accountable for other people's actions. It just doesn't make legal sense in my mind. But anyway, that harass our members and community. This includes the women, children, and families who attend our church and the activities taking place this weekend. Contrary to your assertion, our organisation could bring proceedings under the Protection from Harassment Act to protect our members from harassment, and indeed, we have done so successfully in the past. Moreover, the individuals who have complained to us about your harassment over the past 2 years could equally bring such action themselves, and I am putting you on notice on behalf of them all. Well, Scientology, bring it on, because we have not engaged in any sort of harassment. I have never harassed any Scientologist, and in fact, Scientology are the ones doing the harassing. To reiterate, the specific ways in which you have harassed these Scientologists and visitors in the past include blocking or impeding their access to the church, causing alarm, distress, and discomfort, in particular by filming them and doxing them on the internet, verbal harassment, and shouting. Well, again, I refute those points because it's legal to film in the public place, and there is no expectation of privacy in the public. And if people don't want to be filmed, perhaps they should use a different entrance to the property to attend the IAS event. There are multiple entrances to St. Hill. We only gather outside one of them. If they don't want to be filmed in a public place, maybe they shouldn't be going out into a public place in the first place. Perhaps they should just drop in to St. Hill by helicopter, like Tom Cruise did. You are already on record for having harassed and violated the privacy of numerous members, several of whom have filed complaints resulting in the removal of your unauthorized videos from social media platforms. I'm going to point out here that this is in relation to a series of complaints filed by the Church of Scientology in order to try and get my YouTube channel shut down. I received in excess of 50 complaints from the Church of Scientology every time I've mentioned the name of a Scientologist or featured a picture of them on my channel, even if it is a public figure and spokesperson such as Janet, who is the managing director of the Church of Scientology UK, who is the spokesperson for the Church of Scientology, whose face has been featured on TV news interviews, on media articles in the press. One instance of such a complaint was when I was reading through an article published in the Guardian newspaper. In the article was a picture of Janet and a quote from something she said in response to the article. Janet, or the church, subsequently submitted a privacy complaint and said that it's breaking the rules to show my face on the internet. And so I just blurred the face out. Some videos I took down and re-uploaded them with the face or the name blurred out. But this is not a legal matter. This is just an abuse of the privacy complaint system here on YouTube. The videos remain up on other platforms, and it is certainly not illegal to mention the name of a Scientologist on social media. You may not like it, but if you don't want to be out there in the public realm, maybe you shouldn't be the public spokesperson for the Church of Scientology. Anyway, I digress. You are also on record for a repeated history of filming and for causing others to film women, children, and families attending our events. Our parishioners and guests have filed numerous reports against you, confirming an ongoing pattern of harassment and intrusion. These documented actions confirm your continued misconduct and expose the falsehoods in your recent letter to me. Further, you have been reported to the police for the harassment of a mother and her child, underscoring the seriousness of your behaviour and its impact on our community. Well, the police certainly haven't contacted me about that, and I don't know whether that's true or not, but it's clearly not a matter of concern for the police, because as far as I'm aware, there's been zero investigation, and I'm not aware of any mother and child that I've ever harassed in any capacity whatsoever. You are the organizer and instigator of these actions directed against our church and will therefore be held accountable for the conduct of any person you bring direct to our premises or cause to come to our premises through the promotional actions you are conducting. This will serve as your final warning. Ooh, I mean, it is Halloween. Spooky, spooky. I'm so scared. Final warning, my arse, right? Scientology, if you want us to stop protesting, simply stop abusing people. We're not protesting your so-called religious beliefs. We're not harassing anybody on the premises. We are conducting a peaceful protest as protected under our human rights. The European Convention on Human Rights, Article 11, gives every human on planet Earth the ability to freely assemble in protest at any time on public land. That's what we're doing. We're filming our protest activity. Of course, there is a well documented public interest in Scientology's activities here in the UK and indeed in our protest activities. So we're well within our right to film what we're doing. And indeed, Mid Sussex District Council, when reviewing the Scientology's failed bid for a protest ban, they also found that we did not engage in any sort of harassment or rule breaking or anything. Sussex police are on site throughout this whole protest, and they have been both in 2023 and 2024, and they will be again this year. They have sufficient powers to investigate or enforce any breaches of the law, such as harassment. They have never found it necessary to do that. So all of this is completely bogus, in my opinion. Let's have a little look at some of these comments before I show you how I've responded. SP Chef Sam in the house, member for 19 months, message. Good evening, Alex, and the darlings in this chat. Thank you so much, Sam. I really appreciate your support and for being a member for so long. And I've seen all of these flying by. Yeah, here we go. Sam gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much, Sam. That's very kind of you. Welcome to everybody in the chat who is now a member of the channel. That gives you the ability to use some special emojis in the live chat. If you go to the bottom of the live chat feed, there should be a little emoji button, and there's special channel specific ones, including Captain Davey himself. So please feel free to use those, and thank you for supporting the channel. Alrighty, let's carry on with these comments here. We have PTS for life. Hey Jeff, thank you so much. It's so fun to see Scientology so scared of you. Yeah, look, what is it that is so scary about a protest, right? The only reason they should be scared is if they know they're doing something wrong, right? If somebody was protesting outside my house and I knew that I hadn't done anything wrong, I wouldn't be scared of them. I'd probably find it quite funny at how wrong they are, and I'd probably just live stream and show it to the internet of how, stupid these people are thinking I've done something wrong. That's not Scientology's approach. Scientology's approach is to slam down hard and send final warnings. How very unchurch-like. Laura FM in the house, ha ha ha. Do you think they got worried someone might fly me out there to protest with you? They said, or to anyone you promoted to come. Yeah, perhaps, maybe. They are certainly frightened about people showing up. And I think the reason they're frightened is because they're scared of anybody who is even vaguely critical of their organization. And it's just a sad state of affairs for an organization to be scared of people who are critical of you. The way to resolve that issue is to stand up to these people, address the concerns, and change your organization's behaviors so that you stop abusing people. It's really quite simple. You shouldn't be scared of being held accountable and open and honest debate and discussion. These things are encouraged in the free world in which we live. And so Scientology simply just cannot stand for anybody who disagrees with it in any way, shape, or form, and will do whatever it can to scrub the internet of anything critical against them, and they will do anything to try and stop protesters or critics and former members from speaking out. They are terrified of free speech. Retro Cara saying, I've been reported to the police by customers at work for refusing to serve them. You can report anyone. Doesn't mean the police will do anything. Mostly, they just take the irate customer home. Exactly. You can report something to the police. That doesn't mean a crime has happened. The police will investigate, and if they assess a crime hasn't happened, they'll take no further action. If a crime has happened, they'll investigate, they'll do what they need to do, and there will be a court case where a judge or a jury will decide whether a crime has happened or not. Until that happens, in this country at least, you're innocent until proven guilty. And I'm yet to see a single piece of evidence provided by the Church of Scientology that any one of our group has actually engaged in any sort of harassment, as they claim. Miriam in the house, Scientology up north, thank you so much for joining. Tina, they desperately trying to smear your character. Smells like fear. Exactly. It is a smear campaign. And all I ask is, what sort of church engages in smear campaigns? This is an organization that tries to claim it is a legitimate religious authority and should be respected and trusted and legitimized through the judicial system and through the legal system and accepted as part of our community. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want to accept anything into my community that I'm a part of that is doing harmful and abusive actions and trying to stifle free speech. These are basic human rights, and these are things that the church tries to promote. The church promotes that it supports and promotes human rights. United for Human Rights, Youth for Human Rights, CCHR, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. Scientology likes to have a facade of supporting and championing human rights, but in fact, this is what they're doing, and this is actually them trying to stamp down on people having human rights. It's completely contradictory and hypocritical. Jeff in the house again saying Scientology protest things they view as abuse with their psych bust protests. Why shouldn't we protest the abuse of Scientology? Pure hypocrisy. Exactly. They have a right to protest, and so do we. And we don't try and stop them from protesting. If we're aware of them protesting, we may go and document it or organize a counter protest. But we don't try and actively stop them from engaging in their right to protest. But that's exactly what Scientology are doing. Alrighty, let's have a look at my response to their final warning. Here's what I sent back. Let me see if I can get it up. Here we go. Here's what I sent back. Dear Mr. Blank, thank you for your email. I note that you're still working late at night, and I sincerely hope that you are being remunerated appropriately in accordance with national minimum wage legislation at the minimum. Got to remember, his email was sent at 9:40 p.m., 9:37 p.m. I wholeheartedly refute your allegations regarding harassment and point you towards the statements provided to Mid Sussex District Council by Sussex police officers present at the protests in 2023 and 24 as part of the Public Spaces Protection Order process earlier this year. They, along with the council itself, agree there is no evidence of protesters engaging in any antisocial behaviour, harassment or hate speech, and the police have sufficient powers with which to restrict or prevent such behaviour if required. It is your organisation that is guilty of continuing to harass and intimidate me and other former members and critics for the sole purpose of destroying us utterly, as per L. Ron Hubbard policy. We will not be deterred by your threats, and we will continue to exercise our protected right to protest until such a time that the Church of Scientology ceases its abuse of current members and survivors. My offer to meet with you and or any other representatives of your organisation still stands, should you wish to discuss our plans or seek an agreement that would be mutually agreeable so as to minimise disruption to your and address concerns on both sides. That was my response, and I will, of course, report back if I get a reply to that. But I think it's quite fair. Our protest is an exercise of our democratic rights, of our freedom of assembly, our freedom of speech, and our desire to hold Scientology accountable for its abuse. That's it. It's very, very simple. We don't want to get in the way of their event. We don't want to disrupt their event or stop people from going. We've never stood in the road to block cars or block people from entering the property at all. We've never done any of that because that's not our intention. Our intention is simply to stand there at the side of the road with some signs that says, "We care about you. If you want to leave, we will help you." But it is your free choice to go in there and part with vast sums of cash if you so desire. You are free to do it. But we want to help you if you decide to leave. Our signs say things like, "When was the last time you spoke to your family? They miss you, they love you, and so do we," or something of that nature. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it says "they love you and so do we." Nonetheless, right? We are here as a caring and supportive community offering support, guidance, and help to those who want to leave Scientology. We are trying to hold them accountable for their egregious abuse that plagues the church in every city in which it operates. Really simple. Anyway, that's my response. I'd be interested to know what you guys think about it. Let's have a look at some of these questions here. Irish Mart here talking to Selena. "I do believe you are right, Jeff. Two things they most definitely are not is a religion and a church." Well, that is your viewpoint. Jeff here is saying, "I hear Scientology is a cult." Bossy Tuber saying, "Scientologists never let facts get in the way of a tale of woe." Exactly. They are the first to claim discrimination and being the victim of sort of harassment or hate speech whenever anyone disagrees with them. But they can never be found at fault. Scientology will never admit to being wrong about anything, and that is because it is enshrined and baked into their policies, which were written by L. Ron Hubbard, who died in 1986. Let's not forget, Scientology still denies the existence of the OT3 materials, which claim that 75 million years ago, a galactic warlord named Xenu dropped space bombs on volcanoes, H-bombs on volcanoes, that resulted in mass trauma that still affects us today. This is Scientology scripture. They deny it exists, but it's in L. Ron Hubbard's own handwriting. It's been presented in court cases. We know it's a fact. But nonetheless, they will never be truthful and they will never be honest, and they consistently act in bad faith. Rob YouTube saying, "Alongside Osa being here, Heidi hi, I also hope that council folk are watching too. I would not expect them to make themselves known, but it would be great for context." 100%. And I can confirm I am aware of several elected officials, council members, people who work for the council who have told me in the past that they have seen my videos on YouTube at both East Grinstead Town Council, Mid Sussex District Council, and so on. These videos are watched, and that is why I do them, is to educate people on the reality of what this organisation is doing in its desperate scramble to shut down protesters who are simply exercising their free speech and right to assembly. Jeff here saying, "All the traffic jams are caused by the terrible traffic control." Yes, and that is the view of the council. After the PSVO process earlier this year, the council said that the majority of the problems Scientology reported are not because of protesters, it's because of their poor event management and traffic management. They are the cause of their problems. It's the same with the abuse. They are the ones abusing people, and we're the ones saying stop it. If they were to stop it, we wouldn't have to say stop the abuse. It's logic. It's literally logic. Lara here saying, I think that is the best perfect response. Very professional and honestly something that they hate that sounds common sense to both sides." Thank you. I appreciate that. Miriam saying here, "Scientology is definitely, in my opinion, a cult." Becky, Big Brother fan, saying, "Hail Xenu." Selena here saying, "If COS disputes your Alex allegations, they can always ask for a jury trial and have a judge look at it." 100%. And let's not forget, the Church of Scientology have never won a jury trial in history. This is an organization that was found guilty of fraud in France, an organization that both the French and German government consider a dangerous cult. This is an organization the UK Charity Commission ruled does not benefit the public in 1999, and the organization that High Court Judge Lord Justice Leahy ruled in 1984 is a dangerous, harmful movement that is out to capture people, especially children and impressionable young people. You can look all of those things up on the internet. They were published. They were promoted at the time by journalists and the media. And this is also an organization that was found guilty of the largest infiltration of the US government in its history. Google Operation Snow White. This is an organization with ill intent, and this is precisely why they need to be held accountable for their actions. And this is precisely why we are protesting. We're not trying to stop people going to the IAS. We're not trying to stop people from parting with vast sums of cash. We're not trying to stop people from practicing their so-called religion. We're trying to hold the organization responsible for the abuse that it engages in universally. And every time they send me a letter like this, all it does is prove our point as protesters. So thank you, Scientology, for the content. And thank you for motivating me to jump here on YouTube and share this news with everybody and update the world on your behavior, which is what the problem is we're protesting. Anyway, I've got one more piece of information for you before I wrap up this evening. As many of you know, last year we had something that we called Hedgegate. Now, opposite the entrance to St. Hill, there is a piece of verge, public land along the highway. Last year, we found that Scientology had planted a 130-foot hedge and concealed fencing on this public land, not their land, the entire length of this verge opposite their property. They did this so they could attach a banner to it and also to obstruct protesters, to stop us standing there. The council and highways then got involved and told Scientology that they can't plant a hedgerow and put fencing there because it's public land. You're not allowed to do that. Take it down. They did indeed take it down and then filed an application for what's called a planting license. They made a case that they want to plant a nice bush there to make it look nicer, improve the area and so on. They did admit that they do it to obstruct protesters, but highways gave them benefit of the doubt and they said, okay, if you want to plant something, we'll give you permission to plant something, but it has to be licensed, which means there are conditions attached to it. You can only plant these specific species of bush. You can only plant this number of plants. It has to be this distance from the highway. And the beauty of this situation is because it's licensed, it means the council have greater enforcement powers if Scientology were to break the rules. So the license says that they're allowed to plant 35 individual plants to make one hedgerow. On the list of approved species is holly. I don't know why it was on there. Of course, Scientology are going to go for holly because it's prickly. And when I visited St. Hill last week, you could indeed see that they have planted this new hedgerow for the entire length of the verge outside their property. I don't know if you can really see it very well in this picture. Let me zoom in a bit. You can see here these sort of new saplings that have been placed all along the verge. Their license says they're allowed to plant 35. Scientology planted 71. And this morning, a local resident sent me this lovely picture, which shows not only have they planted the hedgerow, they've also installed a new fence in front of the hedgerow, right next to the highway. This is certainly not something that is allowed as per the conditions of their planting license, and I can now confirm that I have received an email from Highways reassuring me that they have sent inspectors round to take pictures, count the number of bushes, and they have indeed contacted Scientology to tell them to make sure they remove half of that bush and the fence post because it is in breach of their license. What they are doing is illegally obstructing the public right-of-way. They are making the area unsafe, not just for protesters, but you've got to remember local residents, dog walkers, passers-by use this verge when walking up the road, right? They don't want to be walking in the road. It's a 60-mile-an-hour road. Cars whiz on by. It's dangerous. So there's a space on the verge for someone to walk if a car comes along. It's to protect them. It's a safety measure. Scientology clearly don't care about safety. They are prioritizing disrupting our protest beyond public safety because they've placed these obstructions on the public right of way and they've completely flouted the conditions of their license. And again, it's further proof this organization are bad faith actors and precisely why we need to protest. So, the conversation is still ongoing. There's lots of emails flying around between myself, the police, and the local authorities. We do have our permit to march. We will be gathering in protest outside the gates of St. Hill on Friday, outside the IAS event. There's a lot of sort of loose bits and bobs here that we need to tie up from a planning perspective. That's all ongoing in the background, but I can assure you we will be there, and we will be there peacefully, and we will be there legally. So if you guys want to show up, please do join us. All the information is on iasprotest.com. If you want to support the protest, you want to support the activism that I've been doing, please consider donating through PayPal or Buy Me a Coffee. The links are in the description, because as I'm sure you can imagine, this isn't cheap, especially now that we're having to take legal action and respond to legal threats. So any sort of fundraising efforts would be greatly appreciated. But the best way of supporting beyond showing up physically and being there in person on Friday is to like, comment, subscribe, share the video on social media, get the message out there, and hopefully we can raise greater public awareness of this organization's ill intent. That's it from me for now. I'll see you guys on the next one.